Hey guys, what's going on? So once again, Juana's in a meeting. So Kylie and I are going to talk about a little bit about personal growth and really some business, moving your business forward,
Yes.
right? And there were some things that we really want to focus on. Today, we want to talk about storytelling. All right. We want to talk about how important it is. And then we also want to talk about going somewhere
Yes.
and letting people know you're going somewhere.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Is that
Yeah.
is that the easiest way to?
Yes. So
Which one do you want to do that first?
no, we can talk about storytelling.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about storytelling.
Right. So early on, if you saw my post, if you guys haven't seen my post yet, I am terrible at opportunity posts. Holy cow. So this is why we are doing this one today, because I don't like to sell. Okay. I do not like to be pushy. However, when we join this company or this industry, so the network marketing industry, it'll be 6 years in this August,
Right.
This coming August. We were told by a mentor, if you will just be really good at telling stories, then you will never have to sell anything.
Right.
So with that, this is kind of how this training came about, right?
Right. And so being able to tell stories, to be able to make yourself be ordinary and extraordinary at the same time is huge.
Yeah.
You don't ever want to just be ordinary, because then you're like everyone else. And they're like, why would I want to go the route you're going? Because you're just like me and I'm not happy with me. Right.
Yes.
You don't want to be too ordinary, and you don't want to be so extraordinary, make yourself look so extraordinary that people are like, I could never get there.
Yeah.
I could never be that. I could never follow those footsteps. Like, I'm going to fail. And so I'm not even going to try. Right. So the goal in any time that we talk, anytime that we do a live, anytime that we do a reel, anytime that we make a post, when we're talking about business, when we're talking about our product, when we're talking about experiences, we want to be ordinary and extraordinary at the same time.
And so what he means by ordinary is something that I can identify with, right? Like, if I am constantly posting, which, okay, y'all, we are so ordinary, we are so low maintenance that sometimes people are like, y'all are not successful. Like, there is no way you're doing what you're doing, because I drive around in my red 2013 Ford Flex. Okay, like I do. It's paid off. The sucker is paid off. So I am proud to drive around.
And plus, it's been marked by our son with his bicycle down the side of it. So like, you can't get rid of that, right? He marked it.
Yes, I am. So when I say ordinary, like, that's me. Like, I'm not rolling up to the car line in my Lamborghini or my Tesla, which, if you have a Tesla, like, please hear me in this. Like, they are super fun. We've driven one. We got to, we were given a Raptor to drive for a while. So like, we know the extraordinary, but we are ordinary, because for me, I want to be able to relate to you, right?
Right. And I just don't know any other way to be.
Yeah, we don't know any other way to be.
And that has been a hindrance at times, because we've made ourselves so much like everyone else that it doesn't attract. Right. I believe that we've attracted people.
So we're talking through our struggles here with y'all. There is that power struggle of like just being us, but like attracting all the people, right?
Well, and it's even I want to be humble, but I don't want to be so humble it looks off-putting. I'm trying to be humble and not represent ourselves in a way that says, hey, look at me, look at what we've done, when we really haven't done anything. But God has done some amazing things through us. And we've used the talents that God has given us to build something special. Like, it's a constant battle for us. Is there anyone else that's like that's me? I really just don't know how to be.
So all of us are different personalities, different things attract you. So for me, like what attracts me, and once you guys hop off of here, yes, it is a struggle, Kimmy said. So like what attracts me is, and you can read my post after this, you'll be able to see kind of how we started and why we got started. I wanted to pay for groceries, and I shared this last week. So if you're a mama that is working to provide for your family and help take the burden off of your family, like that's who I identify with. If you're getting to go on vacations, like that was something we always wanted to do. Was I'd never seen the ocean at 30 years old. I'd never been to the ocean.
And never even been on a plane.
I'd never been on a plane. Yes. And so that was something that was attractive to me. Like, how are you doing this? How are you able to afford vacation? And so those are the things like that attract me. Your mansions, the private jets, the Lamborghinis, and all of the like all of these fancy cars. That's not attractive to me, but it may be attractive to others, right? Like and so I have to remember that.
And that's why we go back to, can we be ordinary? Hey, because I know some people that are multi-millionaires. You wouldn't have a clue.
You have no idea.
But yes. I know they're successful because they're going somewhere, and they hold that. They make them. You can just tell. Right? You can tell when someone's being fake. You can tell when someone is arrogant, and you can tell when someone, man, they are special. Like, but I feel like I'm just like them. I want to do what they do. Yeah. Right. And so in any of your talks and any of your posts, anything like that, you've just got to make sure when you're looking at things. Kylie made a comment the other day, like when we make a product post or a opportunity post or something that's looking to change lives, even a post about our walk with the Lord, we want to appeal to the four main categories of people. Yeah. Right. You want to hit all those people, your introverts, your extroverts, your numbers people, your fun loving people, all that stuff. And maybe we need to do that color training sometime.
We are going to do the color training.
We need to do that and go down that route and talk about the different types of people and what they're attracted to and how to do that. But we want to make sure that we are you're attractive.
Yeah.
Right. And you are also above where you're taking someone where they want to go. Right. And so a conversation can look so much like, hi, my name is Ryan Stokes. I am a boys basketball coach. I have been a teacher for 19 years, and I love the Lord. And along those lines, right, to make us relatable, hey, everyday guy. But at the same time, you can go into that talk of, and we've been in this industry, and I'm just making this up as we go. We've been in this industry for 6 years, and we've been able to hit multiple top ranks in multiple companies, and da-da-da-da. And I have to put some thought into it. I'm not the guy that's with words. That's not me. So, but in the same conversation, being just like everyone else, but also being like someone that went after something and achieved it. Does that make sense? Yes, no, yes, I hope that makes sense. So it is so important to be that extraordinary, ordinary. I know I keep saying it, but that's the training that I went down with Pete Vargas, and it's really helped a lot. And then when you go back and you look at all those other people that have been our mentors, they were doing that without telling us that.
Well, I think too, just defining what is ordinary for you and what would be extraordinary for you. Like, how do you define those two is the game changer, right? That's where the shift happens, and you're like, okay, now I know how to share, right? So for us, teacher, coach, stay-at-home mom, we know we can share stories to that area of people, to that group of people, because that's what we know. That's ordinary for us. Extraordinary for a teacher and a coach is to be able to take vacations. It's to be able to provide above and beyond the means that your teachers salary is bringing in.
Right.
Extraordinary for us is going from grocery money to having this handsome man home with me full time, fully present in our kids' lives for the first time in 16 years of our marriage.
Right.
That's extraordinary to us. Where others, extraordinary is,
it could be different.
It's going to be different.
It's going to be different for each one. And so being able to draw people in with your story, being able to get them to connection is so huge. And you know, I've watched people and go back and look at them and I'm like, man, I connected with them and they didn't even know what they were doing. Like they were just good at that, telling a story, connecting, and then taking people somewhere. You ever watched a movie and you're so into it, like you forget where you're at? Or I've got a couple coaches that they can sit down and tell a story and I forget where I'm at. And the next thing you know, I'm 3 hours and I'm like, what? Yeah. Like they were so good at drawing us in. And so like ways that you can practice this, and we're going to go a little bit deeper into going somewhere, right? How important that is. But just, there's nothing wrong with standing in front of a mirror and telling your story and getting really good at it.
Or right? You can send it to me in a voice message.
Or you can do a live.
You can do a live.
Well, you could literally do a video and post it inside World Changers. Say, hey, I wanted to tell my story, but I'm so scared. Would you guys watch this and just kind of help me? Yeah. Guide me. Yes. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, because we're a safe place for you to.
Right.
If you're afraid to do it, then that's what you need to do. You've got to step into that greatness that you're being called in to do.
Right.
And so that's a safe place. We will be your biggest cheerleader.
Here's the other thing. It doesn't have to be your story. We got into our very first relationship marketing, network marketing company because of a story that was told about someone else.
Well, time out. I've got one even better. We are all here, and this was hit me the other night and just rocked my world again. We are all here in this company on this very day because of Juan's wife, Sylvia, sharing her story of what Nanify did for her.
Right.
Because of her story, I began to believe maybe this is something I have been looking for. Maybe this is the missing piece to the puzzle. And it was because of her story that my belief was built. And I took the leap of faith to say, okay, I'm going to give this a good try.
Right.
Because those bottles sat on our counter for 4 months.
Right.
But I didn't hear her story until later on. And it was like,
and then
okay,
here's the on top of that. We were all in to do the business because we start to see change, but we didn't have our story yet. So we just shared Sylvia's and some guy that deals with lupus. We started sharing their story. Yeah. I'd share it in a video. I'd tell someone, I told my mom about, we just watched a video on this lady and she did this, and I just talked about it. And then as we built our business, we were also building our story. So I was using other people's stories to help build the business while we were creating our own story.
Yeah. And so if you're looking for stories, we've got this little group. It's kind of little Liquid Gold Wellness that is full of thousands of amazing stories that you can share anytime. And there's many ways to do it. You know, you can just share it in your actual stories on Facebook, share it on your page, those kinds of things, right?
Right. Read through it, get the highlights, and go tell someone about it. Yeah. It can be that simple in a conversation. Man, how are you doing? And then you have the conversation and they're like, what are you up to now? Well, I'm taking this. I feel so good. And I'm not the only one, you know, and just go down that road.
Or if you are talking to somebody or you see somebody on your Facebook feed or Instagram feed or whatever, and I get some all the time that are saying, you know, I was just diagnosed with Hashimoto's. Well, guess what? You better believe that I'm going to be tagged in that post because I have shared that story so people know my journey, right? And so guess what I do? I watch for those things and I share not only my story, but I start sharing other stories. Or if somebody's just been diagnosed with something else, I will private message them. I will go into the Facebook group and I will either add them to the group and tag them in that story, or I will screenshot that story and personally send it to them. Hey girl, like I know that you just were diagnosed with this. and she and I usually have a relationship, right? Of some kind. And I just say, read this story. Like, I don't know if this is anything that you're looking for, but let me just tell you, I know the power of curcumin and it has changed my life. But this is what it's done for her in this area of whatever struggle she's dealing with. Right. And I didn't have to do anything. That was super simple. I got to share somebody else's story. To validate what I had already shared. Right.
And so that's a lot about just storytelling, but like, you need to be able to tell your story and tell people that you're going somewhere. Kylie is gonna talk a little bit, but she hit me up, and we have some people that we follow that we just are like, I don't know if I can't do it the way you do it. I'm gonna have to do it our way.
Yeah.
But the overall goal of how you do it and the process in which you do it, like, you're smart. You're doing something pretty special.
Well, there's just a lot of great mentors in this space, in this industry that, man, if you just piece them together and make it your own, it's powerful.
Right.
It's powerful.
And so Kylie goes, so-and-so said.
You want me to tell this story?
Sure, go for it.
So yesterday, I'm like, something has got to give, something, I've got to do something. There's something that I need to be doing that's missing in our business, right?
Right.
I've got this fire in my belly and I don't know where to like push it. And
you hit me in the face.
Sorry.
That was my nose.
Hey, you have elbowed me into my forehead so many times. So I was listening to this podcast and she was talking about, she said, when I joined my very first company, the company was 20 years old. She said, I was broke. I was living in somebody's basement. I was driving this little busted up car and I had no gas money. She said, I lived in the mountains. And so to save on gas, I would coast down the mountain. Okay. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm identifying a little bit with this. Right. And she said, the thing that changed everything for her business wasn't that she was an expert, because she'd never done it before. But what she did to go from living in a basement, not even able to pay rent or gas money, to being the top recruiter in that 20-year-old company, within months, was she said, I got really good at telling people where I was going, right? Like, this is where I am right now, but I'm going this way. And if you want to go with me, let's go, because we're doing this. And that was something that I was like, I'd forgotten that. We have been taught that. Tell people where you're going, right? Share people's stories, share your story and tell them where you're going, because they don't really care about what's going on now. Like, they want to know the solution to their problem. Okay.
Right.
They want to know that gas prices are rising, grocery prices are rising, and my income is not changing. So I need you to tell me how to get to where you're going, right? Like, I need you to give me the solution.
Right.
How do I go from living paycheck to paycheck?
It's so cool. Kylie, she was very ordinary and showed what she was going to do that was extraordinary.
That was extraordinary, yeah.
And it just hit me like, she's doing it.
Yes.
And doing it at such a high level. And it's not just her. I mean, we've had a mentor that we met 2 or 3 years ago, and he was like, man, I became the top at this. And I think the company was New Skin, dude selling cosmetics, right?
Yes.
And he become the very top income earner in there. And he talked about, I was like, how did you do that? He's like, I had a desire to get there. And I just kept telling people, this is where I'm going. I'm going to do this by this point. If you want to go with me, great. If you don't, great. And I might just go in spite of you. Like, I am going there. Yeah. And like, he was like, people were just like, well, I want to go with you. How do I do that? And like, this is what we're doing. And so it was over and over again.
It's having the dream and having the drive to get to that dream, right? But also having the right vehicle. And the vehicle that we have here with Vitify, with the high impact product that we have, it's already disrupting the wellness industry.
Right.
Man, like, there's no other way to go. If you're on this path, like, the sky is the limit. I'm going this way.
Yeah, you're going
The
that way.
sky is the limit. Either you're going with us or you're just going to stay back in that parking lot, right?
Well, yeah, you can go with us. You can cheer us on.
Tools.
You can hate, or you can watch for a little while. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, this is what we're doing, right? And I think if you can get that mindset and understand, not only do we have the vehicle, but we have the tools.
Yeah.
All the tools have been created. Like, we are tooled to the limit, plus a new website coming, plus the app is going to be tied to the website. Like, we are getting ready. Like, it's the snowball is being put together at the top of the mountain, ready to get pushed off the hill. And by the end time it gets to the bottom of the mountain, it's going to be so big, it's just going to go right. It's just going to, it's going to blow through stuff.
Yeah.
And so, like, momentum is building. And as a coach, I know this. I'm going to do all I can to fight for momentum. And then once we get it, we're going to do all we can not to give it up.
Yep.
And I say this, I've said this before, and I'll say it over and over again. Momentum is huge. It changes lives. It changes outcomes of games. It changes outcomes of businesses. It changes outcomes of lives. Like, oh, you grab momentum and ride it, you can go for a long time. And that's just the huge part of this, is being able to tell stories, and also tell stories about where you're going. Not just about the product, not just about the experience. People are looking for something to get them out of their everyday life. That's where we were.
Yeah.
Is this the way life is going to be all the time?
Yeah.
Financially, is this the way life is going to be all the time with my health? I thought the same thing over and over again. Like, when I was on my health journey to lose some weight and really get healthy, was, man, I go to work, I'm exhausted, I give all I have at work, and by the time I get home, I go to sleep.
Yeah.
And then I wake up to go to bed and eat and go to bed, right? And then I'm going to do the same thing. Is this going to be my life over and over and over again? And it's like, there's so many people that are like, I'm just in a routine. I'm in a circle. It's cyclical. You know, how do I get out of this? Well, we have a way to help them get out.
Yeah. And
what's going to attract them is you being real, you connecting with them, and you saying, this is where I'm going.
Yeah.
Right? This is where I'm going. And I would love for you to go with us.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I just think you define ordinary for yourself, define extraordinary for yourself, and act accordingly. And
get in front of that mirror and tell your story to yourself. Because I'm going to be honest, there's some of you, I've watched you and I'm amazed by you, but you don't believe your own story.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
You believe a lie that's been told to you. You believe a routine that you live, and you don't even believe your own story. Yeah. So if you don't believe your story, how's someone else going to believe it?
Yeah.
They're going to see right through you and go, nope, that's fake.
Yeah.
But once you believe it, it's going to change everything. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I'm telling you, get in front of that mirror and start telling you that story. I had, for the longest time, I had wrote it was my I am statement, and I put it on the mirror. Mm-hmm. And it just sat there, and I read it every single morning. And it said who I am, who God says I am, where I'm going, what we're going to do, and how we're going to get there. Yeah. And I read that and read that and read that. And finally it just became belief. Mm-hmm. It was like, yeah, I can tell you that by heart. Yeah. And it's not just a routine. It's something I'm going to do. And I had to change it at times. Once we achieved some things, I was like, nope, I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that, because I'm constantly evolving. I'm constantly become better. I'm constantly improving. Right. Mm-hmm. And so that's huge. So get in front of that mirror and tell your story to yourself until you believe it. Yeah. And then once you believe it, go tell it to as many people as you can. Mm-hmm. So. Yep. No, you guys have something powerful in your hands, and the opportunity is huge. It's not one to sleep on. And so. Right. I think, it's time to start stepping into the greatness that we have been blessed with. Right. So. All right. Yep. That was all we had. I'm going to stop the recording. If anyone wants to chat or talk, we can do that. But let me stop the recording real quick.